And welcome back, folks. This is U.S. Home Talk, and it is Wednesday at noon. We are so happy to be here and appreciate however you're tuning in. Jason Walgrave here with Mortgage Mike Overson. We got Marcus Walgrave. We've got a very special guest coming on the show. Of course, we've got our wonderful and amazing producer, Evan, in the background. U.S. Home Talk, folks. Again, best way to get a hold of us anytime during the week is our amazing website, ushometalk.com. You can connect with all of our fantastic partners. You can listen to past shows, tons of information on real estate, all things real estate, buying, selling, investing, financing, refinancing. Check it out, ushometalk.com. And then, of course, during the show, feel free to ask questions in the comment section on Facebook and YouTube. You can also text in your questions to our real estate hotline number, which is 612-234-7585. The real estate text in line during the show is 612-234-7585. That's also our 24-hour real estate hotline number. And so you can call, text anytime, 24 hours a day, and we will connect you with the right person. Guys, it's good to be here. Excited about today's show.
Heck yes.
Folks,
of course.
Good afternoon. Today's topic, and we talk about this often. We probably have a couple of shows a year specifically about this topic, and that topic is credit scores, and what they mean and how they affect your buying power. We're going to go through some maybe some misconceptions. We're gonna bring on our good friend Jeremy over at Credit Life. Hey, Jeremy,
how you doing?
Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, it's good to be seen.
It is good to be seen. You haven't been on the show in a while, but man, we've known you for a long time.
Yeah, it's been well over a decade.
That's what I was going to say. Well over a decade. Oh, you got a twin in the background. Look at that.
Yeah, you like that? I got that. This is my fancy. This is actually my office. This is what my office looks like at our corporate in Burnsville.
Love it.
So yeah, I do enough streaming that it kind of necessitates a background that is somewhat interesting. Otherwise, they got to look at me. Yeah, so there's at least some other things.
It has a nice Kirk Cousin vibe to it.
You like that?
Hey, is that they still have your statue out front of the office up right there at the entrance?
They should.
Right.
There was a protest and they toppled the last one. So
no, they didn't put that back up for you.
No, it's apparently something to do with I don't know. I wanted to take over the world or something like that. You want?
Well, you're taking over the credit. You're taking over the credit repair world. I know that.
It's been busy. It has been busy. It's been really wild. So Credit Life, just a shameless plug. Credit Life just turned 10 in December.
Wow.
Nice. Hey.
So yeah, Credit Life turned 10 in
Congratulations.
December. So, yeah, I've known you guys for way more than a decade, but Credit Life turned 10 in December, and so we had we threw out a little anniversary special and things like that, and buried ourselves in clients coming on board. It was a wild time, awesome time, but it also showed the need that a lot of people have right now to get ahead of some of the credit issues that they're facing, because everyone. Just about everybody who comes to me, a good 90% realistically, want to buy a home. That's their primary goal. They want to get mortgage ready. They want to get in position to qualify for a house. And the only way to really get going is to start things sooner rather than later. It was the Music Man. In the Music Man, where they said, if you stack up enough tomorrows, you'll have a bunch of empty yesterdays. And so, getting ready for mortgage readiness and buying the house, you got to start right away.
Yeah, you got to start right away, and we talk about that so often. Whether you're thinking about buying, in 5 weeks or 5 months or 5 years, we want to talk to you right now. We have the other thing that we've talked about over the last, over 15 years being on the radio and podcasting is we look, if you want to buy a house, we can show you the path.
Right.
Anybody, regardless of what you've been through. Any type of hardships, with a plan and time. The amount of time depends on, how much hardship you may or may not have had. But with plan and a time, we can get you into home ownership and we can show you how to do it. And that goes, whether you're talking about no money down financing or conventional financing or, grant programs, or there's so many different options, but we want to talk to you now and get you in a position to have the most financing options out there.
Right.
And Jason, you mentioned, credit, how it affects your buying power. I mean, really, and Jeremy will talk about this too. Of course, we're going to talk about how that affects your buying power because this is a mortgage and real estate show. But really, how does it affect your entire life?
Everything.
Everything.
Absolutely everything.
Right. Literally almost everything in your life probably is somewhat tied to your credit score. I mean, employment, you're talking loans you get, obviously, for interest rates, home insurance costs. I mean, you name it.
Background
Credit
checks for jobs. So if you're in the military, security clearance is predicated on your credit. If you are financially compromised, you might be more willing to cross a line, maybe divulge a little data in return for some money to help your family. So I've got people that you may have read about in Venezuela really recently that I've done security clearance for. And the thing is, what's so funny with all this, again, you mentioned insurance, auto loans, car loans, student loans, homes, background checks for jobs, rental. If you go to rent a car and you don't have a major credit card to pull, you have to put your deposit on, they're pulling credit checks on a lot of folks. And the place they go to check you out, the place they go to verify you is back to TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. It's the world's largest repository of unverified data. So it's
Unverified.
Unverified, yeah. Not a single piece of data on a month-to-month basis that's collected by these places is verified. And I mean, you got these three companies. They call them bureaus. It sounds official, like the Federal Bureau of Investigations, right? So these are the credit bureaus, but they're repositories. They're data dump centers. And you got three of them, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. It's like Nike, Reebok, and Adidas. They're private companies. No matter what, you're never their customer. You can buy monitoring from them. You can think that you got a great relationship. You don't. You're their product, your data. So they get info on the four of you guys. They get in, or three of you guys, probably. They get info on me. They get info on 250 million people per month. They get it on average from 20 sources per person per month. So that's 250 times 3 times 20 sources. So if they were forced to investigate, to verify even 1% of that data, it would take a workforce of millions, and credit reports would be prohibitively expensive. So the deal is they verify zero of this stuff. Not a lick of it is verified. Wouldn't be, that wouldn't matter if it wasn't being used for anything, but credit's being thing, like you said, Jason. It's background checks for jobs. It's insurance rates. It's everything. And so, if that situation doesn't seem fair, being judged on 100% unverified data, that's why the lawmakers agreed and put together what's called the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which is what we use to help fight that. I mean, they put the word fair in the act. It would have been normal to make a law and call it the Credit Reporting Act. But they put the word fair in there. So from the get-go, they understand that it's not a level playing field.
No, it's not a level playing field. I think of a story of a guy that I know, and he went to college, had really good grades, got a couple majors, a master's degree, and then, after he graduated, he accumulated a little bit of debt. And I mean, not a massive amount, but maybe $15,000 in credit card debt.
Right.
Might have been late on a payment or two, and he joined the military, and originally because of his educational background, he was going to take the path of an officer, and he got in there, and they pulled his credit, and they said, oof. We
can't clear it.
This doesn't work. And then he got put into infantry.
Yeah.
And so a completely different path,
Right.
based on a credit report, based on your credit score, on a few $1,000s in debt, and maybe a late or two. And so people just don't think
amazing.
how it just touches everything to do with their lives.
Mm-hmm. Right now, I mean, if anyone's even remotely watched the news, the 800-pound gorilla in the room is the 10% interest rate cap. Bernie Sanders was demanding that happen for 10 years. Donald Trump is trying to have it go through for 10% for a year. He just had a phone call with Elizabeth Warren about the same thing. They're trying to find a way to put this 10% interest cap on credit cards out there. And the thing is, no matter when you or how you artificially change the natural path of the credit industry, anytime you put confines on it, changes, or new rules, what people don't realize is the ripple effect of that. The reason that a Apple Card or a PayPal credit card right now are, I believe, at 33 or 34% interest. The reason they're there, that's the reason that they're there is because the money made on that interest offsets the defaults. It offsets the negatives. You're paying for the bad guys, the people who don't pay their bills. And so if they cap these interest rates at 10%, there is no longer a buffer. There's no longer money to be made to pay for even the slightest credit risk. So the ripple effect is going to be that nobody's going to get credit. You're going to see credit spending limits slashed. You're going to see accounts closed. Money still owed, but accounts closed. There's right now in the credit industry, even prior to that, something called a flight to quality. I've got an Amex card that they shaved $10,000 in spending limit off of, and my score is in the 8s right now. So this is happening to everybody. And the flight to quality is a fancy way of saying Americans are carrying more debt than ever on credit cards. Defaults are at an all-time high. We're scared. We don't want to lose money. Let's limit our exposure, right? Let's not let people run them up, run into a problem, and fall off. Well, that's already taking place. Now you couple that with the fact that they're not going to be able to recover the money on those defaulted accounts anymore because there isn't enough buffer for that. It's going to reduce the availability of credit. So you're going to be stuck with two situations. You'll either have people with 800 credit scores who will be able to get credit cards and they're at 10%, or you're going to end up with people having to get money from loan sharks or fully secured cards where they're going to have to put massive deposits down to get a spending limit, or just nothing there at all for most of these folks. They're not going to accept people with the least bit of credit risk for a credit card. And now when less people have credit cards, when Visa and MasterCard, American Express discover when those networks are making money on every swipe, these merchant processing fees. Every time you use your credit card to buy gas, the gas station has to pay a merchant processing fee to Visa or MasterCard or whatever flavored labels on that card, right? Well, if not as many people have access to these credit cards and then not as many credit card transactions are going to take place, the volume for the swipes will go down and the cost per swipe will go up. So merchant processing fees are also going to be negatively impacted, and that's going to turn around. They have to recoup that somewhere, so they're going to add that to the prices. So by doing something that sounds amazing, hey, a 10% cap on interest for a year, the fallout, mark the day and time. If they do this, the fallout is going to be astronomical.
Well,
Jeremy, I came across, sorry, Jason, I came across a quote that the CEO of SoFi said a couple days ago. And he made the comment about how he loved the idea of a 10% cap because SoFi was going to do great because people are going to step away from credit cards and they were going to do personal loans.
Yep. Now, SoFi, their interest rates, they have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% origination fee on the loan. So if you take out $10,000 and they have a 5% origination fee, the fee for that loan is $500. So if you accept the money, you're already $500 in the hole. Now you take that money and you go ahead and you spend it. Well, it's not like a credit card. A credit card, you're only paying interest on money that you've spent, money that you're using, and balances you're carrying. A SoFi loan pays out at once. So you're paying their exorbitant high shark-esque interest rates. From the word go, they've already made $500, 5% off you, okay, before you even got the money in your hand. And you're paying full interest on that thing right out of the gate. So this is a very dangerous situation.
No wonder SoFi is excited.
Oh, yeah, they're thrilled. Yeah, them, Prosper, Upstart, all those folks.
I mean, this almost sounds like they're driving people more to the payday loan shops.
Yep.
Pretty much, right? I mean, that's
It's
what.
going to be title loans. It's going to be payday loans. It's going to be sharking, legal loan sharking.
Legal loan sharking. And that's just so everyone knows, that is definitely not an inexpensive way to go. That is about the most
No.
expensive way you can go
No.
to get
If
your
you
hands
don't
on
like
money.
30%,
Yeah, wait
if
till
you don't like 30%, you might see one of those.
Wait till you don't like 30%
one of those
with an
deals.
origination fee and you pay all the interest all the time on all the money. Right. It's this is not good. It's popular. It sounds amazing. It's not good.
Interesting.
I mean, it's kind of like an automatic transmission, right? Mm-hmm. The gear that you turn over here, right? There's how many other gears and stuff that affects
Right.
the shaft that is being turned over here, right? And it's like turning this gear sounds like a great thing, but you have all these other things that are affected in the middle to get this result over here, and the impact that it has when you start turning this gear over here across the economic system is. It's great over here, but then there's going to be, for sure, it's like a teeter-totter. For sure, there's going to be other things that get worse because of it.
Right. Right. So how this relates to homes, this is, I wanted to address it, but bring it back. How this relates to homes is if we have a situation where people's accounts are being closed, you're losing that credit history, you're losing that score potential, that point potential, and it's actually going to make it difficult to qualify for a house. It's going to be difficult because you're going to have closed accounts that you owe money on. Well, in the FICO algorithm, if an account is closed and you still owe $1, you're over 100% balance to limit ratio, so you're going to tank your score immediately overnight by them turning that off. You're also losing the opportunity to pay it down and have a better one to get points back. You're also losing that open active account. And if you go for like Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, where they have a minimum trade line requirement in the old school paper underwriting, two revolving accounts open and active with a perfect payment history, one installment open and active with a perfect payment history, and a 24-month credit depth. Well, congratulations, you don't have any accounts that are open anymore because your Victoria's Secret card and your Capital One card and all these things took a look at
Your
you,
Minnesota
and you were
Vikings card?
Yeah, absolutely, and you were slightly risky. Well, I was just thinking about you boys with Vic Secret. So, you look slightly risky. They're going to close them. All of a sudden, you don't have open active credit, so you've lost the point potential. You're taking a point hit. You don't have access to real credit you need if the tranny goes out on the car or you need an alternator or something like that. And now you're looking to go get a house, and you're potentially having to start over from scratch. And then underwriting for loans, they're going to have to equate for this and go, okay, it looks like based on this fallout, 30% of all Americans lost their credit cards. Well, what does that look like for home approvals? What do we have to change internally? Are we going to do flight to quality and stick with only lending to the best of the best of the best credit, credit score, credit profiles? Or are we going to have to change? And how long is it going to take? What's the ripple effect? This whole thing has significantly far-reaching impacts that exceed, gee shucks, we'll save some money on the interest we're paying on this card.
Now, the mortgage industry has somewhat addressed this right now or recently because conventional loans got rid of minimum credit score requirements. There's no minimum credit score you need to make.
Right.
The systems that they have, it's an automated underwriting system.
Right.
The systems they have looks at the whole profile of the loan, right? So it's like, what's your debt to income ratio? How much money are you putting down? What do you have in reserves? What's your credit score? What's your credit profile? It's looking at all these things, and it's basically assessing a risk based on all the factors to say, yep,
Right.
we'll approve that one, or no, we won't. But you also have to know, too, if credit scores as a whole drop because of this, right? Is the mortgage industry then going to base their pricing or adjust their pricing based on that?
That's the question.
Or
so
not.
While the approval can take place, I know and everyone knows that there's more to just the profile in determining the rate.
Right. So, so it's just, again, it's the whole, cogs in a wheel and however it's named, right? You're going to turn one gear over here, and it's going to have all these different effects all the way down the road. So
Right.
Yeah,
So-
I think that ripple effect is something you always got to take a look at, right? And so, but Jeremy, when we're talking about, and I appreciate all that info,
Yeah.
that is we.
That's just sort of the state of the credit union right now. The
It
way
is.
things are standing.
So quick for folks that are unaware, how was your credit score determined? What makes up your credit score?
All right. So when most people say, hey, what's my credit score? What's my credit score? What's my credit score? There are a plethora of different scoring models. The most commonly used scoring model is FICO. Another increasingly commonly used scoring model, which is going to be starting to be considered for mortgage, is called Vantage. So if you go to a Credit Karma, you go to one of those things, you're usually looking at a Vantage score. I tell people typically if it's free, it's Vantage. If you're paying, it might be FICO, right? Okay. So what makes up your score in general? I'm going to go with the FICO algorithm since it's what 92% of all lending institutions in the United States use. And people want to know what their FICO score is. Well, within that, I'm not going to get into the fact that there are FICOs version 1 all the way through 10T now, which is trended average daily balance, which if you guys remember having me on the radio show, I was talking about trended average daily balance years ago. Like, hey,
Yes.
this does matter.
Yeah.
But in sort of a snapshot, what makes up your FICO score? What makes up your credit score? So 35% of your whole score in general is made up of payment history. Did you pay on time? Did you pay at
30%.
all? 30. Well, that's 35.
35%, yep.
35%,
Yep, payment
yep.
history. So 35% of it. 35% of it. Here, I'll move over if you want to go side by side. There we go. See, I'm adjustable. 30. So 35% is payment history. Did you pay on time? Did you pay at all? It's the most important consideration when lending. Deciding to lend money. Hey, you think they'll pay me back? You might want to know that. So it gets the most.
And
weight
you
within
you
the
can
FICO
get
algorithm.
you can get make some ground on that by being a renter, right? Just paying if you have to pay your gas or your electricity or your utility
You
as a
can.
renter.
While
Do
that
those
works-
type of payments count?
Well, yes and no. Okay, so while they do impact FICO scoring, think of it more as something that's going to impact your FICO score less towards mortgage, more towards getting a decent credit card that you can utilize well to then get the mortgage. But, if you go to mortgage underwriting, like, for example, authorized user accounts, mortgage underwriters are specifically required to disallow authorized user accounts from consideration. Now, do they impact the score? Of course they do. With the newest versions of FICO 10T, so when mortgage evolves and starts using the newer versions of FICO, they're not going to have the impact they once did. And really from version 8 on, they don't. Now, mortgages are using, 2, 4, and 5? FICO 2, FICO 4, and FICO 5 on the different bureaus. So they're not caught up to that yet in Savvy, but as they move into using this new Vantage scoring model in addition to FICO, they're going to be bringing in the T from trended. They're going to be bringing in the trended average daily balance. And at the end of the day, while that looks really neat on Experian Boost, it's basically artificial, just like a authorized user line is. So you're not going to really overcome a payment. You're not going to overcome a payment history. One 30-day late takes 24 on-time payments to make up for whether you like it or not, whether you add 5 more accounts or not. It is what it is.
Yep.
So 35% of the total FICO score, it's being made up of on-time payments. Now, a full 30% of your FICO score is something that you can control, and it's why I was talking about this 10% interest cap thing. So 30% of your credit score is balance to limit ratios on revolving accounts. Those are credit cards. So if you don't have credit cards, you're like, oh, hey, I pay cash for everything, man. My credit's going to be great. I don't have any credit card debt. You're wrong. You're not doing well. You're actually missing 30% of the point potential that you could be having.
It's a big number.
And so, and it's just not there. And some people go, well, I'll just have my credit cards. I just pay them off every month. Your credit report is like your report card in school. If you didn't participate in class, you don't get an F. You get an incomplete. They can't grade you. That's the same thing with FICO. When FICO is the grading system, and Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, that data, that profile, that's the homework assignments and stuff you did, right? Mm-hmm. So when they go to grade you, if you didn't take part, you get an incomplete. There's nothing to grade. So if you're not taking part in revolving accounts, credit cards, there's nothing to grade on. You're not getting that potential in your grade. Mm-hmm. So 30% balance to limit ratios on credit cards. The lower you keep them, the better you are. The more frequently you use them, meaning month to month, the better you are, because there is actually a penalty in the FICO algorithm for not having activity in a month on a card. So 35, payment history. 30, balance to limit ratio or utilization on a credit card. Now, 15% is history. That's time. So that's, again, why the 10% thing scares me. If accounts start closing,
Right.
average age of account starts shrinking. Okay? Time. The only thing you can do about time is doing something sooner rather than later. Now, 10% of the FICO algorithm is blend of accounts. It's the ability to demonstrate that you can do more than one thing. You have installment accounts like a car loan, a student loan, a mortgage. Those are 3 different types of loans. Do you have a revolving account like a bank credit card? Do you have a revolving account like a store retail card? Do you have a line of credit from a bank? So when you're looking at all this, one kind of account is good. 2 is better, 3 is better, 4 is better, because when they go to lend to you, they go, look, we've got wonderful things happening here. We've got a blend of accounts. A loan officer can sometimes use that as a compensating factor. Look how they've demonstrated their history on all these things. Maybe they got something bad here, but look, they can handle a blend of accounts. Look, they've got 2 auto loans. They've got 3 credit cards, and they never had a late on those. So these are things that are good. So you get points in that 10%. The final 10% that makes up the FICO score is recent activity and inquiries. So basically extra weight given to the last 12 months of stuff you did, and then inquiries. Everyone knows that hard inquiries hurt your score, and they do. They do. They cost you between 5 to 15 points per inquiry per bureau. That inquiry stays on your credit report for 24 months. In the FICO algorithm, it impacts your score for 12. Now, you do have a couple of advantages. You do have some shopping windows. They're called anti-duo duping, something you totally don't need to know. Think of them like a shopping window. You can have unlimited mortgage inquiries, or unlimited auto inquiries, or unlimited student loan inquiries, as long as they fall in a 30-day block. Okay? So if you're shopping for the your loan officer is shopping maybe a couple of lending sources for the best loan, there might be a couple hard inquiries. Great. That's fine. It's only going to count as 1 per bureau. If you go to the dealership and they shotgun you out to 75 people to see who can give you the best financing, and you watch on Credit Karma as your score craps out, it's actually fine, because at the end of that 30-day period, it's going to count as 1 inquiry on Equifax, 1 on TransUnion, 1 on Experian. So actually take advantage of those shopping windows.
30 days. 30 days.
So that's the FICO algorithm. It's 35% payment history, 30% balance to limit ratio on revolving, 15% time, 10% blend of accounts, 10% most recent activity and inquiries.
Jeremy,
So-
we do. Go ahead, Mike.
One thing too, notice how Jeremy did not say that your income level is part of your credit score.
Yes.
Income
yes.
is not.
Your-
Income is
your-
not.
yes.
Your
The
education
balances-
is not.
Yeah,
The
your
balances in your
assets,
bank accounts, not
Yeah.
part of your credit score.
your job,
Yeah.
your assets.
Assets are not credit.
Right.
Assets are not credit. Income is an asset. Bank accounts, that is an asset. You can be rich as snot. You can go, I paid $100,000 for my Maserati, and I actually owned it outright. Well, neat.
Sweet.
What did you do with credit?
Didn't help you.
Nothing.
Yeah,
Right,
your credit's
exactly.
terrible still.
Yeah, exactly.
Evan, you want to do a legal minute here
This is
before we
Jeff
finish on the
O'Brien,
show?
Attorney with Hush Blackwell with the U.S. Home Talk Legal Minute. For some Minnesotans, snowmobiling is a popular wintertime activity. However, snowmobilers should be aware of applicable state and local laws regarding the operation of snowmobiles in Minnesota so as to not infringe upon others' private property rights. Anywhere in the state, snowmobilers may ride in the bottom or outside slope of a ditch of a county or state road, on state and local trails, on iced over waters that have legal access, on township roads unless otherwise otherwise restricted by local ordinance, on public lands that are open to motorized vehicles, and on your own land. In the 7-county metro area, snowmobilers may ride on land that is posted with signs stated snowmobiles allowed, on land other than your own with written or spoken permission of the landowner, occupant, or lessee, or on the groomed area of a snowmobile trail. Outside of the 7-county metro area, snowmobilers may ride on agricultural land with permission of the landowner, on land other than agricultural land that you have not been told verbally by written warning or by posted signs that riding is prohibited, and on the groomed area of a snowmobile trail. Before starting up your sled, be sure to know where the designated snowmobile trails are located and whether any local ordinances further restrict the use of your snowmobile within the city limits. This is Jeff O'Brien, attorney with Hush Blackwell with the U.S. Home Talk Legal Minute.
So that legal minute was good. I like the
That was
snowmobile
fun.
one. Heck
You
yeah,
cannot snow. They don't let you snowmobile at the zoo. That was my takeaway. I can't take it through the zoo.
Can't take it to the zoo.
Can you?
No.
Oh,
Marcus,
we can't
you're
hear
muted.
you.
Muted, Marcus.
Your miming, your
sorry,
miming is
sorry.
coming along well, Marcus.
Oh, thanks. I've been working on it. My takeaway was that you can't ride your snowmobile on water, only if there's ice on top.
Yeah.
Since when? Since
You
Since
can
when
as
was
long as you
that
don't
a-
stop.
I just walk on it. I don't snowmobile on
You
the
just
water.
walk on water.
I just walk on the water.
Can you snowmobile on public
goodness.
beaches? Down in Florida?
Oh, sure.
Oh, Florida, sure.
yeah.
You know, I guarantee you, somebody in Florida will try.
Someone will do it. Jeremy, any last thoughts here before we wrap up the show? We do appreciate you coming on. Always
Of course, I appreciate you having
fantastic.
me. Yeah, I
Fantastic
appreciate you guys having us.
information,
So, if credit seems overwhelming, if it seems scary, don't let it be. It's really not as complicated as it seems. Just look at some basic day-to-day skills and things you can do. Maybe putting things on auto pay so you don't oops yourself into a late payment. Maybe making sure that you're being mindful about your spending. Do you really need that soda that you're grabbing out of the cooler in the checkout of Target when you've got a 12-pack of soda in your cart? Little things like that are going to free up cash flow, free up capital, and those are going to allow you to do things like pay down your debt, open needed accounts, and help you make a good, well-rounded credit profile so you can walk up to Mortgage Mike, you can walk up to Jason, you can buy yourself a home.
I love it. Jeremy, thanks for coming on. We do appreciate
welcome.
it. And look forward to having you on very soon again.
Thank you. I appreciate all you guys.
Folks, we do appreciate you tuning in. Be sure to check out our website, ushometalk.com. Catch all of our past shows. We've got connecting with all of our fantastic partners. Jason Walgrave here with Marcus Walgrave, Mike Overson, Evan Little in the background, our insurance expert and production. He's our producer. And then Jeremy with Credit Life. Thank you for coming on this week. We do appreciate it. Everyone have a fantastic week.